just gonna go make the rounds, but I know I'm coming back to this guy. No doubt about that.
Yeah, bro, for sure. All right, well, aloha, ohana. We're out here. Jonah Martin Lyon checking in. Brother Tyler right now. Brother Gauss. Bruh.
You have my information.
Absolutely.
So we have to do some work together.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah. Very, very, very soon in this. You know, I would love to see this, like that zone, right? Like where's it? Yeah. So we're gonna create that zone. Maybe it'd be this place. Imagine having this like on a consistent basis. I mean,
partnership, connection. There's got to be a way.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah. Oh.
You guys, did you hear about this?
So we've been going live here in our own right, if you will. So Hope for Maui.com. This is our Rally for Peace community event here happening at Imua Discovery Gardens. For you checked in earlier with us. We had a beautiful opening ceremony, and now we're just kind of sitting in different groups here in this Peace on Earth zone happening. And actually, I'm going to cruise around and sit with a couple of their groups right now as we tune into this Relations and Peace Building initiative here on Maui. I'm just going to probably go around and just show what's going on right here and just kind of see how people like to play in it. We have community leaders, council members, sharing. How's it?
You want to take my picture?
Well, I'm in the live stream right now, and I feel like what you're sharing right now, Dave, is super important. Can we just bring it in? Sure. Yeah, because it's like right on update. Hope for Maui. Right, Hope for Maui is like literally us right here. Here, Zen. There you go. Perfect. All right. Awesome. So you were sharing right now. Just imagine this isn't here.
Okay, but I totally lost the train. What were we talking about?
We were talking about Aloha. We have more volunteers than we did.
So the day of the fire, the day after the fire, I was kind of based in Maui Memorial, the gym, and the line to get in the shelter was this long, but the line to volunteer was this long. That was Aloha in practice. People came all over across the island. People came from other islands to come here and volunteer and help. There was people who were dealing with the Puna lava, their experience with trauma and having a whole town burned down. They were first on, running over here as much as they can. The West Maui hubs popped up, were much more faster than the government.
Yes,
they much more, it became like they were so overwhelmed with the gifts and the donations and the volunteers that you needed a job to manage the example I give of Maui United Way. They had to hire somebody just to open the envelopes of donations. The checks were pouring in from all over the world, and they had to hire somebody to collect it, take the donation checks, put them in the bank, and write it all down because they couldn't even keep up with that.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah. So I think what it was is, the community came together. They outshined the government. I'm a county councilman. I'll speak truth. They did things that we couldn't do. The day after the fire, I went right into Lahaina town with the captain of expeditions, and it was a no-go zone, but I went anyway. I don't know. There wasn't the security that they had at the point, but I just kind of went through it. We went in, and we took the ramps. I don't know how they didn't burn on the harbor. The ramps for the ferry. Put them on a flatbed, drove them to Maui, and we got the ferry up and running within a week.
It's amazing.
And the ferry between Maui and Lanai is our lifeline, right? I live on Lanai, so the speech pathologist takes the ferry, the police take the ferry, the fire take the ferry. There's people who give services, the professional service to Lanai, they need the ferry. So that was up and running within a week. But the hubs were just rocking it. FEMA is kind of a train wreck. The feds are gonna fed, right? They're gonna be this big bureaucratic thing. But I just want to tell the message is that FEMA's not your friend. They're not known for their customer service. All right, they're high barrier, but they're data driven. So as the world forgets about our disaster, we're not going to forget. But they take that FEMA data and they say, how many people were disaster? Was it 5,000 affected? Well, then you get X amount of dollars. But if more people file and more people give the data, it turns out there's 7,000 people. Then you get more money. And then HUD comes in and starts picking up where FEMA pulls away. So the more people go out and register for FEMA, apply for an SBA loan. If you get denied, that's okay. If you get the SBA loan, that's okay. You don't got to spend it. But because you're in their system, you explain to them all that what happened to you. You lost your job, you lost your house, you lost your car, whatever. You're renting a house with bad water, like up in Kula.
Yeah, my son.
You can explain that to FEMA, and they'll collect that data, and then as time goes on, all that data will be gathered and say, okay, this is actually not only 5,000 people. There's 10,000 people affected, and all that translates into more federal funding.
And that's really good to educate the populace on knowing that, because my son, he's like up in Kula. He lost his job at O Farms. He's 25. He's depressed because what is he going to do? And now he has no water, and he can't apply for SNAP because of whatever. And he's just like most of these young adults who were barely scraping by anyways, staying here. How's that going to roll out for them? I mean, I think about this young generation that's like, we cannot, here's my opinion, okay, is we are not sustainable if we depend on tourism as our primary. And this is very clear. We cannot afford to stay here or live here if we as a community are dependent upon tourism. I'm not saying tourism is bad. I'm saying we can make it work for us in the sense of eco-volunteerism, so that we who put most of our money in this system, right? I'm spending all my money here to stay here. We're going to be loved and supported. We're going to be lifted up. We're going to get the advantages of our housing is more affordable than, say, somebody who comes in and buys $1 million property and now rents it for, God, in COVID, we went from $2,000 a month to $3,500 a month, and now have to have roommates to just live here so that we can do our job. I lost my job. I worked as a nanny through there's no work. I have no work.
Well, I'm wondering what
I can put you in contact with people who need a nanny right now.
Okay. Yeah, my son, he's a chef. He's got lots of skills. He has no work. You know.
I'm wondering the county as well, though. I mean, you guys are losing income right based on this.
So I would be glad to become a member. Like I wanted to. I have a business. I'm self-employed. That I wanted to get a loan for, but they're like, no, you don't have enough on the books. You can't. But if it puts me in a field to just get denied, I'll do that.
So what happens is the SBA loans. If you apply for it, let's say you apply for 20 grand, right?
Okay.
You spend 1,000 of it and just don't spend the rest of it. It doesn't matter. Or if you apply and they deny you, that doesn't matter because they get the data. And then when the grants start rolling out, because there'll be grants, not just loans. Yeah. When the grants come out, you say, "Hey, I'm in the system." You'll get a better result by having been in the system, and or if you're denied, or even just taking a loan and not spending it all. So I really encourage you to. I know it's high barrier. I know it's not easy. I know you if people are affected by fire and they give them a stack of papers.
I just went through unemployment.
It just doesn't work like that.
Right? I went and applied for disaster unemployment as a self-employed person.
Yeah.
Because I'm a spiritual counselor, and I want to step into my community, and I do art therapy to heal.
So the low barrier ones is like Maui United Way.
Okay.
They were very simple, but it was a one-time $1,000 kind of donation. So that's just how the system works, and it's not the best system. But as far as you talk about the idea of tourism and pivoting, I'm gonna come budget season. I'm gonna put money in where we're gonna start creating like a green collar job corps where okay, fuel is the problem, right? The getting grass, all these invasive plants. We're gonna work with Maui. We're gonna work with a nonprofit, and they have a way to hire about 100 people. County will subsidize it, and they'll go and they'll make fire breaks, they'll make fuel breaks, they'll replant with native plants, they'll replant with vetiver grass, they'll replant the ulu trees that we're talking about, and then as you're doing that, the question comes up, well, what are you going to water it with? Well, we still are doing injection wells, right? So the bill I'm writing, I think it's Bill 51, I can look it up. It's going to make the county clean its water before we put in injection wells. Or just clean the water and then we water the fire breaks with that water because it's clean water now, right? Because right now we inject it. And injection wells is a bad thing for the reef. It's a bad thing for the precious resources, water.
Filter just puts right in the ocean.
Yes.
What about planting plants that are actually water barriers in those areas?
So like in Mexico, right, they have the aloe vera and the those kind of plants, right? The aloe vera kind that are really drought resistant, vetiver's drought resistant. Sure. Let's take it a step further, and maybe we can eat that stuff, right? So, ulu trees have traditionally been feeding families in West Maui since time immemorial, right? So, dragon fruit could be one. So, the Okinawa sweet potato is a great ground cover. So, you have all these things you could do, but it has to be watered, right? You could. So I think to have the expression is don't waste the waste, right? So wastewater is not wastewater. It could be used as water, right?
Yeah.
So that's the bill I'll be pushing forward. And then that's come funding time, that's what I'm going to try to fund.
Wow, I love you. That's amazing. Yeah. Because I'm creating a family sustainability and I'm learning how to grow. And I want to be able to catch water. And I don't ever want to be in a position of being out in the middle of the ocean and waiting for help. I'm not a victim. There are so many things we as a community, I'm an educator.
We import 90% of our food.
And we should not do that. We don't
We got a year-round growing season. We
could be planting hemp and using hemp for all kinds of things.
Well, on that note, I don't know if you guys know who H.O.P.E is, Hawaii Pacific Mill. They're a Big Island company. They do all the prefab housing, which is why a lot of times the houses on Big Island is very cheap because the land is cheap, but also the housing they're doing is prefab. You can put it up.
Those are great.
They build them inside the factory, put them on a truck, and then drive them out and put it on your land. Right. They're working on Miyake Concrete here in Maui to kind of start doing that here. At the same time, we've got Alika Atai and some other community leaders that are working on hempcrete. Right. So you got a concrete factory who can do hempcrete with a prefab hempcrete house. Hempcrete is fire resistant, right? So now you have the system that we're turning out is really the kind of system we need.
Well, and it's a place we are actually going to be proud of. This is the vision because I'm a visionary. I see we're moving into a place we're going to be so proud of because everybody's heart's showing up. Like I feel it. Everybody, the amount of, like you said, the amount of aloha that is here and the love, the ability to, I'm going to make food. I'm going to be up all night. There are people sleeping in their cars that are just serving. And that's a community we've chosen to live in, and I'm very proud of us. And I want to continue these conversations of how do we become sustainable? We have the technology, and we cannot allow our government to make the decisions for us. We are the government. We need to be voting. We need to be voting the right people in, and we need to be speaking our piece on what we want for what we're building now, because we're talking about Hawaiians wanting the diversion of water needs to be given back.
Yeah, I just was in Kauai with HSAC and they had the state reps saying there's no water in Hawaii. for the Hawaiian homes, which is, I don't agree with that at all. So, but I know Councilman Paulton was talking to him, and maybe that's where they can put in some of those modular homes in the time being.
Yeah.
We need to be malleable. We need to move and be
Yeah.
go with the flow, no pun intended, with the situation at hand.
Yeah.
But right now we have people who are houseless, so we need to find land. Again, I know somebody who's got 100 modular homes. He just needs the land.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's go.
Yeah.
And as far as the farming thing, I'm chair of affordable housing. And last year, I'm chair of agriculture. And last year, you know how they Kula Ag Park? Well, we expanded Kula Ag Park 100 acres. But I made the expansion organic practices. So now you're going to have a county-owned ag park that on one side's conventional, on the other side, with a good buffer, is going to have organic practices happening. And we're getting into sustainable ag, we're getting into regenerative ag, we're getting into looking at farming in a different way. And people tell me, oh, there's no more farmers. That's not true. There's the farmer fam, there's a farmer training programs that have waiting lists, right? And I'm a farmer myself, and the guys I farm with are 65 years old and up. So there's a gap, but now the young guys are stepping up, and I really see the young guys really kind of doing new style of farming. So to speak to your point, like, I don't think that 90% of imports of our food is going to be long. We're going to put it in.
Well, I'm wondering too if like maybe you could give me a suggestion, because you are in the county system, of how to take things. See all this grass? We don't need to have grass. We can't eat grass, but we can have community gardens and teach people how to farm and be self-reliant, which is what.
Well, one thing we could do maybe is to help push against the HOA restrictions against being able to property.
Yeah, HOA systems are it's kind of tricky. It is, but I think that Kula has a huge ag park right now, right? It shouldn't just be Kula. It should be a West Maui ag park, a South Maui ag park. Communities. The closer the land is to where the person is farming it, like the farmer ideally should live on that farm. Right? So the closer they are to the ag where they can farm, then the more productive your farmers will be. So every district should have an ag park that the farmers need three things. They need land, water, and a little bit of capital. And I was the one who put in $3 million for the micro grant for farmers. It's $20,000 a farmer can get. Very low barrier. You fill out a one-page grant form. And luckily, Councilman Rollins Franny's carried that torch and went all the way through with it. But we were pushing to make farmers have 20 grand in their pocket to go right out and buy a tractor, buy this, buy that, and start farming the land. The Lanai farmers, I put in for $35,000 for a tool. What do they call it? Not a tool hub, I guess. What it is, it's like, it's a co-op.
Yeah.
You're only going to use a trencher once a year to trench your irrigation.
Right, so
why would I buy a $10,000 machine? But we're going to co-op this trencher, so now the farmers can do irrigation underground. And so, tool library. That's what it is. Thank you.
I love that.
I was trying to think. I can't get that term under my head.
Tool library. I love it.
Yeah, tool library.
Yeah, because that's kind of like in my moving into my senior status is getting some ag land, creating an herbalism healing place. So apply for all the education grants that I can, because I'm in art healing, and have it be a place where we bring Hawaiian practices back in. So instead of going to a doctor, I'm not saying you don't go to a doctor, I'm just saying that you go and you get holistically through your food education. Our land can teach us so much about how to be
and you can
a whole
house on that
person.
property too, right?
And you house people, and you work trade, and it will give, put people to work.
Well, it's communal,
Yeah, and that's who we are. We're a community. We just want to be, touching the loving in the community. So, especially if we're going to be here and we grow old age, and we want our children to come back. They were raised here.
To be able to stay
here and
raise their kids
and to be proud, you don't have to live in a $3,500 condo that you can't afford. You know, I mean, those houses. My first husband, that's who built those prefab houses, and they're affordable, and you could co-op a land because we were looking into co-oping homestead, where you get a bunch of people to invest in a piece of property, and then you put your tiny homes
In the central kitchen.
and you share.
Yeah.
You know, because that's the number one cause of depression is loneliness and isolation. And if you can't afford to feed yourself, you're isolated and alone. So when you have a community where you can have your elders, your youth, and every one of us in between doing what we love to do, you have a flourishing community. You know, that's heaven on earth right there. So just finding out how Hawaii works, that's like where I'm at. I've been here 13 years, trying to figure out, like, okay, I believe that's possible.
What's already happening in terms of the food making. I volunteer with Hungry Heroes Hawaii, and the kitchen is amazing. Sometimes we get 30 volunteers one day that come in, and we're all seen and we're all engaging, we're all being recognized, we're all being known to each other. We're seeing the talent and skill and love and aloha that we all bring with each of our being and into the food that we make and prepare to serve the people in need. And imagine if like we had neighborhoods where we had kitchens like that, like a common house where there's a cafeteria and everyone takes like a shift a couple times a month to make food for the whole community. And we get that social time. We don't feel alone. We feel engaged. We feel like we know each other. We know our neighbors. We know what they need because we talk to them. And so I mean I think that's what's important also like in business too. When young people, bright minds come out of high school, they need a place to go if they want to start a business, to learn how to start a business and meet other potential co-founders. Yep. I felt like that was a challenge for me. I went to the startup weekend that METVs had hosted prior to COVID, and then it shut down, and there wasn't enough popularity or knowledge about it. And you need something that's like at least 3 months, 6 months, or a year long accelerator. I'm actually working on something like that online because I want to provide a pathway for people that want to get into permaculture design, eco-village design. They want to get into like how to build and organize the community. And so, like, I'm looking for other like-minded people, and it would be cool to have like a hub where people can come together and say, "Hey, we need a nonprofit startup to focus on this, and like here are people that want to do that, and or we need a worker co-op." There's a huge amount of money that's going to be coming through the administration on the national level for worker co-ops. And the county and the state need to be ready for that. And because worker co-ops are a good way for just someone who wants to get started in owning a business with others. They can build their skills so that they can eventually move on up, maybe buy a home, so it gets them some financial like growth.
Yeah. The young people we're losing so many young people, young adults, that nationwide, because they're looking at all of us and what has been left, and the trajectory of consumerism and capitalism, which I'm not against. It is something that I was raised in, but I think that this idea of receiving and giving in equilibrium, and this youthful generation, which we have two kids that are in the young adults, there's so much depression, and they've lost more people to suicide. It's astronomical how many people.
There's already been 6 suicides on West Maui.
And this is because the hope of like, well, I don't want what you are leaving here. Like, this is disgusting. I can't afford to live on an island I love. There's nothing for me. Where do I go? I have to leave my family now to go get educated because there's nothing here. I don't want to leave my family. So there's that remorse. So I love this co-opportunity because we know psychologically, he and I are both in the psychological field. I'm in the spiritual, he's in the psychological, is we need each other. Like viscerally, we need to be touching, eye contact, not behind a computer. We need to be helping. And that's the benefit. And I'm not saying that it's not like, yay, we had fires, but this is what we're seeing people need. Like this is the outcome. The benefit is people are coming together.
There's an old plantation expression on the island of Lanai. We export two things: pineapple and our children.
Right.
And we don't grow pineapple.
Right.
So this is a brain drain and a culture drain that's been going on since plantation days. So it's nothing new. It's on steroids right now.
And Ashley over at the YMCA came to me because we wanted to start doing a mentoring program to help prevent that. To actually take the kids and give them a direction, give them tools, show them the other opportunities and create other opportunities for them on the island.
Well, I mean, modeling is a great way to teach people. And when they see us go to work as parents 40 hours and then go to our second job for 20 hours, they know that that's not the gig that they want to do. Right? And then when they go and try to enter the workforce, productivity is like this, wages are like this, right? So yeah, go ahead and work 80 hours a week, but we're not getting the wages, and it's really hard for the older generations to wag their finger at the younger guys. I bought a new car the minute I graduated high school. Yeah, but new cars back in the 60s was like you could. Now a new car is what, $40,000? A year's pay.
That used to be a down payment on a house.
Yeah, right. So the youth are smarter. They're more progressive. They know the systems are broken. And in a sense, I kind of envy the youth right now to say they're going to be the ones that are going to change us, because there sure ain't going to be anybody during baby boomers, because they come from that lens of what's the problem? Go buy a house. I bought one, right when I was 20 years old. I bought a brand new car and drove across the country. That's Larry Ellison's story, right? So that's just, those opportunities aren't available to our youth, right? And they know that. They're smart enough. For better or for worse, social media has its positives and its negatives, but they know that there's other gigs out there that they don't play in the reindeer games of this capitalism here. That's extractive. Hotel industry is naturally extractive. We have large hotels that collect all the money and send it to their shareholders on the mainland, or just take it out of our community. So that's why you see all these. I push back when they say, "Oh, the youth don't want to work no more. Nobody wants to work anymore." They do, and they are. They're just not doing the gigs that are offered right now.
They don't want to be slaves.
Yeah. Well, they see what we do.
Yeah, you're gonna work for no money.
Yeah.
Like I'm an educator of children, and I was looking the other day, like they're looking for a preschool teacher, at different places, and I'm like,
they're one of the lowest paying gigs.
I've been paid as a nanny $35 an hour, cash under the table for years. There is no way I'm getting paid $15 an hour to work with a group of kids.
It goes fast food workers is the lowest paid, retail workers is the lowest paid, preschool workers, in those kind of rankings. And then when we say, "Oh, look, the new retail store is opening up. Now there's jobs." Retail work is one of the lowest paying work ever. Right now in Queen Kalamana Center, right? Yeah. They were struggling so hard during COVID. They had new buyers. Somebody bought Queen Kalamana Center, and they wanted to build where the old Sears is. They want to put in like a very tall, like 8-story building, condos, right? Okay. Is it going to be affordable? Could the retail workers afford it? Think about how good that would work out. If it's subsidized enough where a retail worker who works in Macy's could live at that place and still have a decent, a low rental, and I know their wages are low, but at least it would be reflective. But no, they're going to probably want to make it a market rate. And what's the market? 1.2 million. So again, the jobs that are being offered after the construction jobs will be clean the units. And what are they paying people to clean units now?
Have you been to Kaka'ako in And
No, I
see-
haven't.
Okay, so in Oahu, this is like my dream
Yeah.
place. There are art condos, basically artists' lofts.
Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't. I thought you meant the whole new over there.
No,
Yeah, I have been in Kakwa with
Right?
all the art.
yeah, well, and so you can. They're low income. I almost did that, but my husband has a shelter here, so I'm like, I'm not moving to Oahu yet. You can. We could afford it
Yeah.
where we're at to get affordable units there, and you work and live building this amazing. Kaka'ako is an amazing artist community. Like it's like Soho in New York, right? You work there, you live there, and you got your everything right there within walking distance. We that would be awesome here to be able to get
More of a community.
more of a community.
So there's HUD has these grants and these monies for like you can build a low income housing units for veterans, and people do. But one thing that they don't take advantage of, HUD has a category for artists. That artist there can be a whole section of the town that could be dedicated to artists that HUD could come in and make those units really cheap and affordable. It's very rare that somebody takes advantage of it,
So
but it's out there.
How do you go about?
Well, you need a developer, you need HUD buy-in, you need the mayor buy-in, of course the council. I'm totally support something like
Because
that.
one of the things that I'm feeling is our Waikaku area
Is that plan for development?
is up for development.
Yeah.
And I know that there was a plan
Coach
for
Atherton?
for it all to be communal work and live in space.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to be. Like, and with
If it's structured affordably, yeah.
yeah, well, no, if it's a structure, but with the focus on being young adult training, like our young people.
Well, and then that's how you start diversifying the economy. Is by
Our young
allowing-
people can come in, and we have leaders that come in and train them, and they get vocational experience, and they're contributing to the community.
Yeah, I want to mention the thing about the young people is that if they're going to work at a job, they want to feel like it's something that it's meaningful. This young Z generation, especially, like meaningfulness in the workplace is really important to them. And so, like a lot of young people want to start some sort of business, but they need that space to go to. They need mentorship, support. I'm reading right now a book called The Power of Nunchi, which is it's a Korean word. It's basically observing other people's body language, their eyes, and getting the sense of the room and focusing less on you and more on others, so that you can understand like the vibes and the sense of where people are at.
Mm-hmm.
And so Korea went from a less developed country to this major industrialized country in 50 years. And the author talks about how they sent their young abroad to find out in a very nunchi-ful way, like
by observing,
learning what other people need. And then they came back and exported those needs to those other countries. And so we can do that the way that the Nakamaoli had in Ahupua'a. They figured out, okay, what does the people close to the ocean need? And people up country can grow those things and then trade. And like each moku, each ahupua'a had a hub where like entrepreneur-minded people could go and survey and connect with their people in the ahupua'a. What are their needs, and then be able to start a business.
Brilliant.
David, I love you. You're amazing. Thank you for contributing and reaching into your heart.
Well, meaningful work. You're right. It's funny. Everybody was telling me, you got to hire how many people for your shelter? Like you have to. I staffed up like that.
Yeah.
Because people
want to help young.
number one, we're paying a living wage. But number two, it does. But I mean, number two, people want that meaningful work. That's what it's doing for people. They jump at the opportunity. So there's a desire.
And you're doing meaningful work too. I'm sorry if I dominate. I'm so curious. I don't like making stuff up about people who work for the county or like you guys tend to take on you're the bad guys, because things aren't going well. It's your fault, and it's really I'm more. I want to know what's going on and how to support what you're doing. I want to know what you're doing. Um, is it something that I'm aligned with? And I've got a really big, powerful energy. I can help.
We should talk to Axel. Huh?
Yeah,
I'm
actually, we're
very
doing great stuff
persuasive.
with Axel and you guys' foundation in regards to that South Maui.
The K.O.P.E Echo Village
That's
project.
what it's
I
called.
cannot wait. I want to get my hands in there.
I was there,
K.O.P.E?
plenty times.
Yeah. There's a property that was for development across from Hope Chapel where the recycling center is. There's a wetlands there. Slated for development. We found out about it, and the local people there too, Vernon and other people who are Kanaka, who are about trying to preserve that wetlands, realized there's a high ground to the wetlands. So if we purchased it, we could not only preserve the wetlands, we could have an eco village, a houseless community eco village where there's places to park cars, but there's also places for tiny homes and a hub for resources, and we could house 220 houseless people there. On that property. So we just had it appraised, and we're trying to get the funding from different tenants to buy it. And then we'll have to find someone to manage it, but our foundation
Does
might be
the county have to
associated.
buy it, or can a private
No,
entity
private
buy
private
it?
entity could as well. We're looking for different resources. Yeah, so it's
Just
exciting
because
possibility.
how much money was FEMA has? Why can't FEMA be wrapped up into creating this? Because it's part of our housing.
It's
stuff.
slow,
Yeah.
and I don't know that. That's the bad news about all this. Government's slow. And when we learned that in the hubs, look how fast the hubs popped up.
Right.
Look, they had a
Crazy. I know.
distribution
Yeah.
centers. They were rocking and rolling. Boats were coming in at the Kahana boat ramp. Uh, I on Lanai, the guys packed a whole plane full of stuff, landed in Kahului, shipped it over.
And they didn't get permission; they just did it. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, because I work with the animals, and I was very sick during the fires, and I couldn't get out to help in that way. People are like, we can't get in to get our animals, and I'm like, I'm going. Try and stop me. And my husband's like, you're sick. You're not going anywhere. There will be time. And I'm hearing all this. I'm like, oh my God, I would lose my shit if I knew my animal was roaming around in ground zero without me. And so, I'm like, I don't know the story. I'm not attaching myself to any judgment. That's my journey right now. It's not judgment. And when I'm well, I will find out where I'm needed. There's plenty of needs. So plenty of places, to facilitate. I work at H.O.P.E on Fridays.
Oh yeah.
And all those animals that they're housing are all people's animals who have no house until they get a house. So they can have their animals. And I just sit and cry with these baby dogs because I'm just like, I know you don't know what's going on, but I'm going to love you up and it's going to be all right. And we're just going to pray home, shelter now. I just.
So I was going to all the shelters the day after the fire, and I started going to all the hubs. And then I started going to Maui Humane Society. And like people get better and better at dealing with this disaster. The systems that they're creating, the grassroots systems, are getting more and more efficient. And I went into the Maui Humane Society, and they had all the volunteers stationed at position points, and they had all the cars come in, dropping off the food and the bedding and the cages and whatever they had, and then they would leave. And then they had a special entrance for UPS because the whole truck of UPS was all Amazon boxes that people were just buying on Amazon and sending it to UPS. We're sending it right to the Maui Humane Society. And that small little Humane Society, they have to have somebody who's the coordinator of the volunteers because there's so much love, so much aloha going on over there. And it's a well-oiled machine. They said that when the fires happened, their kennels got emptied because everybody's like, I'll donate, or I'll adopt. So then now they have, because before, if you recall, they were struggling. Like there was a lot of dogs in there, and they were asking for even like you want to just adopt a dog for a month
or for a day.
Yeah,
Right.
foster the dog for a day, right?
Something. Yeah.
And now look at it. It's like totally everybody was all there to help. So
So yeah,
I know.
that's hopeful, right?
Yeah.
There's definitely
Well,
hope.
and I just looked because I was looking at jobs. Like, okay, where else am I needed? You know, maybe I need to switch careers right now. And Red Cross is hiring.
FEMA's hiring, Red Cross hiring, the county's hiring.
Do you know how much Red Cross is paying for an administrator of what you were talking about? Or somebody to coordinate, just coordinate. $1,500 to $2,000 a week.
Yeah.
A week.
Wow.
That's good money.
That is good money. I'm like, I'm really good at delegating and telling you what to do.
They need people that know this place. They know how to pronounce the names of the people they're helping. They know how to pronounce the street names.
Yep.
Well, someone who could be empathic.
Yeah. And one of my criticisms is at the shelters, the first few days, our local Red Cross showed up. The people who have been trained in the community and they've born and raised here, they just long-term members, they would just show up and be like, yeah, I took Red Cross training. I'm in charge of Hannibal Tavares shelter. Auntie knew everybody. She knew everybody's names. Come in, we'll feed you, sit down, relax. Then the National Red Cross came in. People from around the world who had some free time, want to volunteer, don't know this place at all, and they got real strict and rigid. So breakfast is from 7 a.m. to 9. You come and this is the time you eat. That's not the culture we have here. You come in anytime, and it's going to feed you.
That's
any time of the day, they're going to feed you, right? So that's the culture mismatch that we had from the national guys versus the local guys. So if you're looking, to make a difference, and you're looking for work, you have there's an opportunity to kind of educate the Red Cross and help the people that need it the most.
It's a good opportunity.
It's needed.
There's so much grief. I talk to people every day, and people are just so angry.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to take the ferry back to Lanai.
Thank you so much for being here. You rock. Keep doing it. I really appreciate all that you're doing and your bravery and your courage and your strength and everything.
Just look out for the bills coming, right?
Yes.
And then when the bills that I write come up, and if you like them, come testify, support them, and then that way we can kind of, have like I'm not just the only guy on the hill, right? And
you gotta have voices behind you.
Yeah. So if everybody supports those bills, you like the idea of cleaning our wastewater enough that we can use it to water our farmlands. If you like the bills that I'm going to do on undergrounding power lines, if you like the bills, we're going to follow land tax, all those things that we can do to harden our communities and wildfires never happens again. Because again, this could happen tomorrow. South Maui is a tinderbox.
Maui Meadows has no fire hydrants.
Maui Meadows has no green belt around it. It's literally sitting in miles and miles surrounded by just fuel.
And they're putting a big solar array right behind the house.
Yeah. Well, and if anybody on Lanai, anybody working with kids that that can help, shelter.
We'll pick them up at the ferry.
Yeah. Okay. For your shelter. Yeah. Okay.
It's a respite. It's a place of safety. It's to discharge energy.
I'll talk to my friend Butch Kima, who does a lot of work with that kind of stuff.
For teams, for any team.
Yeah.
Any gender.
Okay. Great.
That's super.
Yep. You bet.
Appreciate you guys.
So nice to meet you.
I'm gonna check in.
All right, you guys.
Wow, we had our own round table.
Awesome,
I bet you didn't.
Open space. It's an open space
You're
meeting.
like a celebrity.
You helped us with open spaces. That was awesome.
Another open space success. We're live streamed, and yes, but it'll be recorded the whole thing.
Review that to kind of just remember all the things you said. There's so much.
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Sharing, Awesome.
No, absolutely. Thanks for letting me come in and just share that. I was like, this is.
What's your name?
Jonah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jonah Lyon.
Jonah Lyon.
Yeah.
Hi. Oh, I have met you.
Yeah.
I have met you. You're a brother.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you again.
Jonah
Lyon.
Yeah, thank you for all your sharing.
Oh, that
it's just like a lot of brilliance happening in this.
I feel right when we started speaking, he started singing the Seal song, Letters to Mine, which has so much meaning.
That's your
to me.
song,
It's like,
yeah.
it's one of my songs. It's like, it just felt synchronistic.
Something divine happening.
Divine, living divine.
All right.
Right.
I think I'm gonna go see if I can touch into the healing.
Switch this around, y'all, and head down. Little vibes down there. I'm gonna turn the camera around here. Take us on a little cruise ship. Maybe we'll go over and see if Michael wants to drop in. We got some table beads over here. Let me switch it around.
Mama wants to stay here for a little bit longer, but if we're not able to return, then we're gonna we're only gonna be able to see if we're having a good time.
Aloha. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Our
He's pointing the other direction right now. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to share anything from yours?
Oh, we'll go up and.
Oh, I know. We're all going to go on right now. I opened up the live stream. So, in
Sure.
case there's anything you want to share in that, and we just shared. We've got a bunch over here on this table. So
I'm gonna come say hi. I'm sorry I was so standoffish the other day. I was in the thing.
good. Yeah, look. All right. That's right. There you go.
So with our table discussion, we were looking at actionable items towards peace, and education and literacy help towards peace. People who are educated tend to be a little less able to be manipulated because they have knowledge. So even just here on the local Maui level, we talked about little free libraries. They're really great because there's not really a lot of libraries on Maui. So there's no library in Hawaii, there's no library here and there. So little free libraries, just they look like little birdhouses, except you have books in them and magazines, and you can just take and give and take and give. So one of the number one things we're going to work on is putting those up in. We have a list of places around the island where there just aren't any little free libraries or libraries. So that's one of the primary things. And then little free refrigerators, which is a new thing that I've started hearing about. But one of the people on our table, there's a method coming out of India where they actually use clay, so there's no power involved. It's clay within clay, and it's pretty amazing. So you can just put fresh food in there and it stays for a long time, and anybody who needs it, you can get it. So those were two of the bigger ones that we're going to do. Another one is, and this fits in, so Rotary this year, Rotary International, one of its focuses is they have a mental health.
This is Michael with the Rotary Club, by the way. Just a quick introduction in this over here, Rotary Club Maui.
Country Maui specifically. Whoops, there you go. There's a mental health initiative that was brought out by our Rotary International President, Gordon McAnally, and we have a Rotary Action Group for mental health that's right here in Hawaii, and we talked about increasing people's not only access to mental health, but their desire to actually seek it, because there's a lot of stigma around getting mental health, even though if you need it. It's like, oh, I'm scared to even look for it. So really trying to get rid of the stigma of, if you need help, ask for it, get it. There's actually a lot of resources out there. People either don't know where it is or kind of feel squeamish about going. So we really want to get rid of that squeamish part, because they need to have the help, and it should be a thing you just do. You take care of your physical health, why not your mental health?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's such a solid point right there. There's a stigma around anything, related to like, am I off up here, by going in that. But, I remember as a firefighter, it's part of our protocol, like, is making sure that we get that mental health constantly. It's like washing our brain. It's taking care of this system right here, which enables us to process the things that we're working through. I mean, the mental health, that's been I think it's an area that needs a lot of attention and focus, like you're saying right now, is how when we are rebuilding, we get caught in the physical. It's like you said, the physical, like I can take care of the physical body here, but then it's like, how do we take care of our mental, our emotional body, and those are pieces that are within the community. That's the internal architecture, not the external architecture.
And then, of course, the United States being founded by stiff upper lip British and kind of rigid Teutonic Germans, asking to help is not a thing they do. So we got to change that. It's plenty of years now we've had their influence. Let's change it up.
Yeah, you need to change that. So great. So I love the little library is definitely something I've seen in other communities, and it's very successful. It's such a beautiful way. The little refrigerators, that's fantastic right there.
Free libraries have been going on for a while, but the little free refrigerators is definitely a newer thing.
Yeah.
Because little free libraries don't require power.
Right.
Little free refrigerators do, except for this new version apparently.
Yeah.
Which changes things.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, we have a lot of that, and I think we can amplify even more of that too, of those, we have like the fruit stands in the neighborhoods, right? And so adding more of that kind of infrastructure and architecture, that gives us ability to share. We were just talking in the other table about the H.O.P.E, and like how the sharing and bartering of what we're able to grow, farm, hunt, fish, like all the resources that are part of what makes the village, move and sustain itself, and how we have an opportunity to really bring all that back, and to live in that way again, and so it's exciting, and we now have the technology that can support us accelerating back to that point. I say back, but it's also forward. It's like this ancient future of like remembering how we used to do things that worked, and then to bring in our modern technologies to expedite and support
efficient
and
get the word out.
Yeah, and the tools that we have. We were talking about a tool library.
Oh my God, that's a real thing. Do they don't have this here?
Where there, it's initiative.
That's okay. How did I never think of that?
Telling us about it right now, doing like a tool library.
Okay, I'm going to work with you on that one because that's totally doable. I hadn't even thought about that, but in a library in Berkeley was a tool library within the library. Amazing idea. I cannot believe no one in our club thought of that. Nobody in any other club I can think of thought of that. But the tool library is an amazing idea. You know how many times I've had to go out and buy a tool for one job?
Right.
Hate that.
Right. And then to look at how, like the small jobs.
I have to write that down. That's a great idea.
But also the big jobs, too. So like having, some of our heavy machinery that like a farm is going to need, but we don't need every single farm to have the same machinery.
Yes.
So that tool library again can help to build a co-op within all of our small permaculture, our small farms here on Maui. That helps to bridge that collective and strengthen that collective each other, where small farms are not only having what they need, but even the new farmers coming into the industry, right? This new wave of farmers coming in can not feel like there's no way they can get into that industry because they can't afford the tools. But it's like we have an entire tool library that supports you. We just need people to manage, facilitate, and be the boots on the ground and the visionaries and operation people. You
have even like little tool libraries, which is like wrenches, pliers, ratchets for households, and then the bigger tool library with backhoes, OO bars, whatever. Yeah,
right.
I like it. Yeah, that's a great idea. I can't believe I've not heard of that idea. And there is one in right. It used to be down the street from my house, and I actually used it once, but I didn't do that. I do much more with my hands here than I do in Oakland.
Yeah, it's the nature of the beauty, this culture here. We're just a lot more hands-on. Another thing that we discussed was like from an education standpoint is in this co-op model is more of the trades, more of the, what we do working with our hands, and that's becomes, you know, the vocations and trades and vocations that are designated on that becoming, again, revamped, reactivated in our society, and that's going to help diversify our economy as
Big
well,
time,
right?
yes. And it's absolutely necessary. I mean, it's a very long story, but with the rebuilding of Lahaina, one of the things, remember the Paradise, California fire? So 5 years later, it's only 38% rebuilt, and that's because they don't have enough people to do the work. Because in the United States, it was always focused on college, technology, which is great, and finance, which is like, yeah, that's not as clear. But we need people who can put up drywall. We need plumbers. We need electricians, and there's not really from the school level up that anymore. When I went to school, there was shop, there was wood shop, there was auto shop. That doesn't really exist so much anymore. So the interesting thing is nationally they've started to figure that out. Like, oh man, we got to start reversing it, but we need it reversed really fast.
Really fast. And we need the economics also to support that kind of reverse engineering, right, in there as well, because look at one of the things is in this housing and what we're building, when the market value of a home right now is up above $1 million, live here, like those jobs of plumber, of electrician, of teacher, of whatever, you know, these blue collar positions, right? Right? These blue collar jobs must, like that, their economics, their earning potential must be directly related to the housing market.
Oh yeah,
you know,
sure.
right? That's harmonious with one another. So it's like I'm able to earn from what I'm this vocation is so important, because without that, we could have all this beautiful infrastructure, if you will, from your build, but who's doing the actual work?
Yeah.
You know, people who are able to afford the housing
To stay living here,
stay
yes.
living here, but who's doing the work to actually come and take care of the house?
Yeah.
Can they live here?
And that's the thing that's been, because everybody emphasized for so long, college, got to go to college, got to go to college, and not the trades. They don't realize that once you're finished your apprenticeship as an electrician, you can make 6 figures your first year after your apprenticeship. People don't know that,
Yeah.
or else they would probably do it a lot more,
Right.
as opposed to wanting to be a YouTuber.
Right.
Using your hands is just a great thing.
Absolutely. Cool. Anything else?
No, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Actually, let me see.
I know, right? I'm gonna grab my notebook too.
Little free libraries. No, that was pretty much, those were the major ones. You don't want to make too big a list, because then it becomes unmanageable and you don't get anything done. 3 to 4 at the most is a nice amount for you had 5, 6 people at the table. 4 good ideas is a good amount of things come out of 6 people.
Right. Yeah, agreed. Simple. Yeah, keep it simple and achievable. You know, right?
Yeah.
Smart goals. You know,
Smart
simple,
goals.
Measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely.
Timely. Yeah,
It's like
it.
basically have a time,
Yeah.
a goal as to when that goal is gonna complete itself,
Yes.
right? So like, if we have it simple in this way, then okay, when do we want to have this district or area all furnished with little libraries?
Yes.
Right. It's a smart goal. It's measurable. This particular neighborhood is going to have this many, and this will be done by this time.
A smart thing, yeah.
Right. It's such a great way to incubate, you know, the intention and the directive. So, yeah, I'm excited about like hearing all of the smart goals, the solutions, and the tables.
Something that's actually actionable, not, like nice ideas that have no concrete way to do anything about, like tool library. That's a concrete way, and that kind of thing also changes economic, what do you call it, inequality. If people can do a job without having to buy the tool, it changes their economic status right there. Not having to have that upfront investment, which can kill so many good ideas.
That's a great point. It really moves. It comes back into stewardship and not ownership in terms of that paradigm too, right? It's like, because a lot of times the power is, we were talking about this over there before, where power is put in front of peace instead of peace in front of power. It's like peace is not.
So there's one more P that goes before both of those, and it's profit.
Yeah.
sad and
right? Power, profit, peace.
That's why one of the things you're talking
switch our orders.
about. Key of profit. Why do we have to pay for water? Why is water not just available to fill up your bottle in the middle of Paia? Why is there no water fountain? You can just get water from Paia. In Rome, they have those. You can just walk up to any of the fountains in Rome and drink that water.
Right.
You should have that.
Absolutely. And we have it. You know, it's a matter of this distribution right now and supporting the organizations, the people who are in these organizations, making sure that they're supported to do the work they're here to do. You know, like Kevin Watkins with Maui Sustainable Solutions, he's been putting these, flow water stations and that into his latest one. He's trying to get into probably Kula Lodge. Speaking of upcountry, he was reaching out to where's the best place. He's got a couple of them up there, but he wants to get at least one more upcountry.
Well, that's me. What's his name again?
Right, Kevin Watkins.
What's the group?
Maui Sustainable Solutions. Yeah.
That sounds like a product you would be very much interested in.
Yeah. And it's great. I mean, he's gotten into some of the resorts here already as well, and airport and the county is also very much behind this.
Is he calling them water stations? What's he calling them?
Yeah, water stations. Yeah, I would put flow water stations.
Flow water. That's what he said. Yes.
Yeah.
Good. We were actually talking about that. I didn't know there's already somebody on Maui who does exactly that. We can plug right in and get things happening. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's your guy right there, and I think a lot of collaboration on that. That's what I was saying. You and I can definitely, really look into a lot of these things together. Because there was a brother, Rishi, who I met here actually while I was running for mayor, and he's in Oakland. Speaking about Bay Area too, right? It's his area. But he was talking about the Rotary Club, and he was like, you need to connect with the Rotary Club on Maui right now because of the long time service and network. Like there's Rotary Clubs everywhere, and when you're speaking and then you added even more to it, it sounds very much in so much resonance with what I've been building around this Jedi Alliance, and which is essentially today's version of Peace Corps. Okay. And I'm calling it that for one, reactivating, reclaiming the origin of the Jedi and bringing truth back to that, but also as the peacemakers in the world.
Sure, yeah.
Right? And to be those pillars and to bring in these trades and these skill sets right now of what it is to be a peacemaker. It requires skills and it requires ability to be able to have mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, like where to be a healthy being in ourselves so that we can do the work that we're here to do and be at peace with all of our relations. Yeah. And so.
What did you say his name was from Oakland?
Rishi Singh. Yeah.
I wonder if he's so the Rotary Club of Oakland is the third ever Rotary Club, and they have 300 members. We have 18. So that's the difference of the Rotary Club of Oakland. So that's why he's like, oh man, those guys can get some stuff done when you have 300 members.
Boy, how can we grow our membership of Rotary clubs?
I think we can always, just by talking to people who have similar ideas, that's number one. That's all it is. You have a similar idea, you get together, you start doing, you're like, okay, I'd like to join this group to continue working with them. And that's really all it is finding common ground for things that you want to do, because Rotary is a service organization, and that's what we're about. If you want to do service, that's what we do. It's not about, it doesn't have any other tenets. It's service above self. It's the number one thing. So that's how you grow it, is by doing projects and making change in your own community. And some good ones today.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, man.
Absolutely. Nice to talk to you, man.
What was your last name again?
Luque. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, technically Luque. The accent's technically on the second syllable, but.
Gotcha.
And what's yours, Jonah?
Yeah, Lion.
Lion, okay.
Yeah, Lion.
Oh, that's right. I heard that earlier.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, man.
Very much a pleasure, yeah. We'll definitely be working together.
Yeah, definitely. You have another card over there? You didn't have a card.
No, I have my personal business card just fine. Because my business is upstairs from where we have our meetings anyway, so it's perfect. And
you do training?
Yeah.
Fitness training.
Yeah.
Oh, great. We'll vibe on that too.
Yeah, when you're talking about the part of the Jedi training is the physical aspect of it. Yeah. Physical, mental, spiritual, all of it. Yeah. I'm not saying that's what the Jedi is.
No, absolutely, right there. Well, I started off in fitness. First thing I got into. Got my degree in kinesiology.
Okay.
Personal trainer, fitness for 24 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then I ended up taking a little hiatus from that. I went out to Burning Man, and I began looking deeper into my spiritual health, and relationship. Because I was like, I had the physical world and was mastered in some ways at that point. Since this is very comfortable here, but hadn't opened yet up to really strengthening my spiritual connection. And diving deep into the emotional, the mental, and seeing all these causal bodies and even the acronym of poems: physical, occupational, emotional, mental, spiritual. Right? It's poems.
I like that.
Right? And it's 5, too.
Yeah.
So then we're bringing in this notion of creativity, creation.
Oh, I think he's talking. We should probably get down there.
Yeah, that's true. We got this. We gotta go to work down here.
That's right.
I'll bring our notes. Oh, I think you're called up right now, bro.
Yeah, I was at the point where it would have been up at the end of August anyway. So it was just like, hey, when we leave me up, I'm just giving you my 30
Hi, Ari. Long time no see.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I see that. That's cool. I'm glad y'all hanging out together. Yep. We're doing solutions. They might call us up, and I gotta go down there and facilitate this. But it's good. So behind me, that's Zola and Ari down there. We in it for the cakey. Genesis is. Let's see. I'm gonna switch this around on this one here. Yeah, of course.
Where's my mouth? Here we go. Is that better? Acknowledging that what people need and feel are different. Acknowledging what people knew and what they feel are different. It's from Kim's group. And number 7, lessen your language limitations. And number 8, reevaluation therapy and language. So that's Kim's 8 solutions for peace, focusing on language. So if any of you want to join Kim in working on those during the year, please come and let me know, and I'll put your email on her list, and you'll receive an invitation to continue the discussion. All right, Mike, Luke. Mike ran the Actions for Peace. He's from Rotary, and here he is. We met.
Aloha, everyone. How are you? So the main part of the Actions for Peace is to come up with actually actionable items, not really good ideas, but things that we can do on the ground ourselves. Yeah, figured that out. So some of the very simple ones that are very easy to promote, literacy. How can we improve literacy? Little free libraries. If you've never heard of a little free library, it looks like a birdhouse, except it's full of books and magazines. There's many places on Maui where there are not libraries. So you have these little free libraries where people can drop off and pick up books and magazines, and you just share, and everybody can take and read and whatever. There's several in Pukalani, none in Makawao, none in Paia, none in Haiku. So there's actually a website you can look up, littlefreelibraryfinder.org or something. And so we're going to look it up, find out where on Maui there are not little free libraries, and make sure that there's some population density to make it useful, and put in little free libraries. Which is actually an idea I had a long time and completely forgot. One of the things that was brought up in our group was mental health, which is actually the secondary focus of Rotary International this year is the mental health initiative. One of the things about mental health is not just access to it, but to reduce the stigma of seeking mental health. And that's actually a big focus of Rotary this year, and of within Hawaii, the Rotary Action Group for Mental Health, which is led by a woman named Kathleen Merriam. And that's actually one of our goals, is to reduce the stigma around seeking mental health treatment. If you take care of your body, why not your mind? So that's one that we talked about as well. And we can do something about it because we already have an action group for it. Community gardens, as well as having a little free library, but small community gardens. Food libraries. Now, the issue with food libraries as opposed to little free libraries is refrigeration. Without electricity, you can have a little free library, but you can't have a food library. But apparently there's a new technology coming out of India where they use double walled clay, and you can keep perishable items without electricity. So one of our members is going to look into that, find out how much it is to ship it over, and then we can see if we can get a grant and have that happen.
I was also part of this group, and so another thing we're working on is we're committing to try to speak to the government, in particular the council, about using nonviolent communication as a method of communication in the council county, in the council chambers, and in government everywhere. But we'll start there, start small, and hopefully Gabe Johnson will be our first contact there. Yeah. And also we're going to contact Mediation Beyond Borders International, as the Rotary has worked with them before, and see if we can work, if our organization, which does mediation, can work with Mediation Beyond Borders International.
And of course, one of the things we talked about in our group is to not have too many goals, because then nothing gets done. Because there's an interesting concept in psychology where never tell anyone your goals, because you think you've accomplished something by just telling people your goals. So we don't want to overreach. We have 5 goals. That's a lot to do in 1 year. If we get some little free libraries up and some of these other things, that will be an accomplishment towards improving people's lives, which makes peace more possible.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, David Littman. Jonah, you want to come talk about what your group came up with? Jonah's group was number 1. POE zone, Peace on Maui zones, with Jonah. Oh, here he comes.
Okay. All right, thank you, Genesis. Aloha, Ohana. All right, so yeah, in this table 1, group 1, right here, the Peace on Earth zone, right, is a PO zone. We're just kind of talking about it too, acronym PO. Peace on Earth, but also poems. You look at it from physical, occupational, emotional, mental, and spiritual, right? They hit all 5 acres right there. The community garden was already brought up. I would look at like adding just into that the ing, like community gardening is an ongoing process, you know, of consistently coming together, planting. So that kind of segues right into one of the shared around the soil ecology and trees for tomorrow today, you know, food security, Hawaii, one of their initiatives, but really focusing in on the reforestation and regenerating our soil ecology. So that's one of those. It's already moving forth. A lot of these solutions, as we said, are great because they're already being deployed and they're already underway. So it's like something that we can get behind. It's been initiated, and if it hasn't, it's ready to. So another one here in the group was the Great Law of Peace. What was shared in that I really feel around, and coming back to some of the legislation, the governance, the aspects around that of what we're seeing when we're really coming into our education and our awareness around the truth of our Constitution and the power of the people. And that we as a people are actually the ones who are conducting and steering and directing, where things go. And when we come together as a people, as we see right now in our response to these fires and what's happening on the road, is that the power is with us, and that is with the Great Law of Peace, is the peace is the first comes first, and the power supports that. Yeah, so if we put our power towards peace, what does that look like? How can we co-create from there? So that's another beautiful solution in legislation in that. I was adding in to just speak around what we accomplished as a community with our community water authorities and our charter amendment there, and that could be a power play in regards to our relations in peace building, is really establishing these councils and directives and core groups that can direct our regenerative, restorative aspects all the way on a physical, occupational, emotional, mental, and spiritual level. Another piece of things here is like martial arts or peace art disciplines, and bringing forth ways of connecting our kapuna with our youth. And so that was a huge part brought forth, is seeing how our arts, our music, our dance, these different artistic disciplines are ways for us to cultivate a culture of peace. And so I love that aspect. It's so needed right now to bridge and to pass on all of the beautiful wisdom that we have as a people on into our next generations and keep it multi-generational. And let's see, another one here, speaking of, is that music, and how music, art, helps to really transmute and transcend the grieving and the pain that's there. As we're going through this process, it's so important, and it's a great way for us to really be able to transform, to bring forth that change, that inner peace within ourselves. If we're feeling any particular way, make some art, create. When we're in our creative place, we're not in our destructive place, So that's where the art, the music, the dance, something exactly like what we're doing today right here. So I just want to give thanks to everyone who are here, everyone who's founded this, all of the co-creators of this experience, and can we continue and sustain this more, because this is exactly what I'm called a Peace on Earth zone. So with that, I'll raise whoever's next. Thank you, Genesis. Mahalo. Aloha.
And as I said before, if you want to join these groups that are working on these issues, let us know. We'll add you to their little email list, because I expect them to be meeting again in about a month. I'm going to turn it over for the next group to David Littman here. And is Hannah here that wants to talk? Is Hannah here?
Don't go far, I won't be long. No, I had group number 2, but we merged with group number 1, so I don't have a lot to report on. But we did, the thing about open space that I love is that what can happen spontaneously. My wife and I got food, and we sat down at one of the open space tables, and Councilmember Johnson just happened to join us. And then before he knew it, we had 5 people around the table, and we were talking about, I think, substantive things. So I wanted to share that as well, some of the things that he's thinking of and that we were kind of collectively developing, is some ideas around just really more nuts and bolts things. Obviously, a lot of the talk was related to the fires, and having a bill that basically demands that power lines are put underground and buried. And turned out that HECO is pushing back, saying, well, it's $5 million a mile to do that. And it's like, well, Councilmember Johnson said, well, we have the money. It's like, let's do it a mile at a time, and let's make it safe. So things of that nature. Talking about the youth and how there's this brain drain that occurs on the island, unfortunately, where youth don't see opportunity here anymore. And I was saying how I've been working with Ashley, who's the youth director at and Ricky Jones over at the YMCA, and there's programs to develop mentoring programs to try to help you find ways to stay on the island and find alternatives to hospitality and retail and low-paying jobs, and to try to create and diversify our economy so that we're not so dependent anymore and that we don't lose the good minds off the island. And of course, to do that, we have to have a place for them to live. So the talk turned to affordable housing and, you know, plans for that to try to help promote that. So a lot of good, interesting, impromptu discussion there. So I thought I'd share that with you, but then I'll turn it over to you, Hannah, if you're available with that beautiful little bundle attached. Thank you.
Aloha, my friends. Let's just take a moment to take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. Taking a moment to feel the steadiness of the earth, the aina beneath you. To feel the spaciousness of the sky above you, the movement of the breeze on your skin. And to feel into that place within you where peace resides. I was leading a discussion around the importance of peace within the family, with the children, with the keiki, and within community. And it starts at an event like this, where we come together and we connect, where we're able to have these conversations that matter. And I was appreciating that it's open space because I have 2 small children, so a lot of my conversation had to happen on the go. Being able to listen into the conversation of the other groups, the inspiration. And one of the big pieces that's coming forward for me within this is the connection, as Brother Jonah was speaking about, with the kupuna, with the keiki, with the elders, with the children. Mothers and babies are the foundation of culture. They're the future of society. So how are we supporting the families and the babies and the mothers? Woo! There are so many aunties in the world who want to find more meaning or have grown older and their family has moved on. How do we build those connections, intergenerational community, more human connection to feel into peace, to create peace in every single moment, that choice to orient to peace. Within that, we're also working on a co-housing project, an intergenerational co-housing cooperative, where we can bring together young families, elders, so that people are living together, growing food together, sharing resources together to create these spaces of peace. Peace on earth begins here. Peace on earth begins at birth. So there's so many different ways, so many different inspirations, and I invite all of us to continue these conversations, to join into these groups, and to keep talking to one another. Where are you inspired? What does peace mean to you? What does it look like to you? And how can you create it in your family, with your children, with your friends, in your workplace, and in places like this? So thank you so much to Genesis, to the Taryn James Young Foundation, and to all of us for coming together to co-create more peace.
Woo! Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, David. Thank you, everybody. Is there anyone else in the crowd who has something they'd like to come and say? We'll be starting up with Elijah Ray here in the next about 15 minutes, or I don't know, maybe you're ready early. You can start early if we're complete. Coming soon, he says, coming soon. Well, welcome to our stage, and he's our last artist, and after that, we'll have a closing ceremony in about 45 minutes. Is that your plan? Yeah. Want to say something, Jonah? You forgot one thing.
That's the beautiful thing of the open forum, right, and the live aspect. So we also talked about a tool library. We have these different library aspects, right? But looking at it from a tool standpoint and this cooperative aspect of tools and how that can be both, scale. We think about both like the hand tools. This brings up all the different vocations, or electricians, or plumbers, or woodworkers, all those shop things that we used to have, working with our hands. So having the tools to work with our hands, and then looking at it from our farms, also having the larger scale equipment, heavy machinery, and sharing that. So there isn't this massive undertaking of resources and finances needed to start and be a farmer, because we already have a tool library to get the work done. We just need the hands on deck and the knowledge to be able to do it. So that's another beautiful solution that I wanted to make sure we put out there, is having this tool library on Maui here, and little caches all over the island, on the north, the west, the east, the south, and having it in every direction right there, so that we can go ahead and take care of this island that we live on. So, mahalo ke koe.
Thank you, Jonah. Sulera, did you want to say anything? Where's Sulera? Paul's coming up. You're going to say something? Okay. Here comes Paul. I just want to thank again also Maui Moses Photography, Rochelle Mendoza Pacific Media Group, the Halal this morning, Hungry Heroes Hawaii, Demir Kuliev, the Amua again, who provided the space, Rotary, Carol Van Horn, Lehu Ryder, who will close us up in Aloha in Action, and all of our staff. And turn it over to you, Paul.
Thanks to you, Genesis. This is amazing. Thank you for creating this. And Solara, thank you. So since he was talking about a tool library, I wanted you all to know about Maui Makers, which is already a tool library, and I run it. So it's here in Maui. We have $100,000 worth of tools, and it's open to everyone. It's a membership, and you have access to a complete shop: woodwork, metalwork, glass, whatever you want to play with. We have it all. So I just want you to know, Maui Makers. It's a website, mauimakers.com. Please come and have fun with us. We make stuff.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that. It's a great place, actually, Maui Makers, for a communal space for working, for those who like doing that stuff. And Paul's a great woodworker. All right. Sulera, are you here? Maybe not. Where could she be? Okay, how are you doing here? Okay, so we'll just take a moment break here, and then Elijah will be on. Can you introduce him, Dima?
All right, guys. All right, Rally for Peace. Good to see everyone here. Thank you for sticking around. And just a dear pleasure to introduce my good friend, Elijah Ray, all the way from Kauai. Hope you guys enjoy.
You want it all alone. I was taught to fight, taught to win. I never thought I could fail. No fight left, or so it seems. I'm a man whose dreams are all deserted. I've changed my name, I've changed my face, but no one wants you in. So don't give up, 'cause you have friends. So don't give up, you're not beaten yet. Sing, don't give up, 'cause I know you can. No, I heard it all around. Never thought that I could be a victim. Thought that we'd be the last to go. It is so strange the way things turn. You've denied to overhaul the place where I was born, on the lakeside. I stayed like broke, I saw you. The trees that burned down to the ground. And don't give up, 'cause you have friends. And don't give up, 'cause you're not the only one. Sing, don't give up, 'cause somewhere there's a place where we belong. Rest your head, you worry too much. It's gonna be alright. When times get rough, you can fall back on us. Please don't give up. Well, I've gotta run out of here. I can't take it anymore. Gonna stand on that bridge, keep my eyes down below. Whatever may come, and whatever may go, that river's flowing, that river's flowing. Maui, Ohana, how you feeling? on to another town. Tried hard to settle down. For every job, so many men. So many men, no one. Family, could you sing a little bit together? Can we sing a little bit together? So I got a part for you to sing. Whether you need to sing this part to yourself, to someone you know, let's sing this together. So don't give up, don't give up, don't give up, oh don't give up. So don't give up, don't give up, don't give up, oh don't give up. So don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. Cause you're not the only one. Don't give up, oh yeah, don't give up, don't give up, oh don't give up. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up, oh don't give up. Don't give up, you can keep singing it. Don't give up, don't give up, oh don't give up. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up, oh don't give up. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up, oh don't give up. Said you're not the only one. Yeah, yeah, don't give up, oh don't give up. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up, oh don't give up. If you have friends, don't give up, oh don't give up. Don't give up, you still have it, don't give up, oh don't give up. Don't give up, you still got me, don't give up, oh don't give up. Don't give up, babe, we've got each other, don't give up. Don't give up, oh baby, don't give up, oh don't give up. Don't give up, baby. Don't give up. Somewhere there's a dream. gathered around and sang songs. I was like, can we bring this over here to Maui? And they were like, yeah. So I just want you guys to know your Kauai family loves you so much. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me. Place where we belong. Oh, my. Wait. Place where we belong. Hey, come on. Oh, my, yeah. I dare you to move it a little bit. I give thanks for the place where we belong. I give thanks, yeah. Oh, place where we belong. Well, I gotta give thanks once again, bringing in the word of midnight. This goes out to the children, no matter what the day, you could never sin. We are here when we all flying, and I'm a song for a soul to shine. And I give thanks for the one mind, give thanks for the love design. I said, let the sunlight feel you right. If your voice is warm at night, we can look into a top line. See everything that's got in the sky is so nice. Is it all your angels? We are all going through the same thing. I like to sing a song when you sing. Thanks one time, what you gonna do? Give thanks, oh, oh. So give thanks, oh, oh. Can you sing it? So give thanks, oh, oh. Thanks, oh, oh. It's a place where we belong. Oh, oh. Thanks, oh, oh. Thanks, oh, oh. Well, I gotta thanks once again. Bringing in the word of midnight. This goes out to the children. No matter what the day is, I never say nah. We are here when we go to find. And I'm a home for us all to shine. Give thanks for the one mind. Give thanks for the love design. I said, let the sunlight be right. Let your voices harmonize. Let your voice to the top line. You can see everything is got in the sky, so relax. Push it over your head. You are going through the same thing. Thanks, I like to see the song with you. So give me one time, what you gonna do? Thanks, oh, oh. Thanks, oh, oh. Sing it, yeah. Who's grateful to be alive? Oh, oh. I like your thanks for this song. I give thanks for Obviously, we're getting this band of life spinning a little bit. Who wants to just shout out something you're extra grateful for about this moment right now? La, 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 la. This is the place where we belong. Love for the high and Maui strong. This is the place where we belong. Right here. Love for the high and Maui strong. I give it thanks for this life I'm living every day. Every way that the journey's unfolding. Yeah. Be here today, no need to be holding on. Let go and just carry on. No struggles gotta hold us down. Have faith and turn it around. We believe we can again, but now you're not coming through. Not in your feet. It's called growth and elevation. You walk the road to your day to action. New action, new creation. Bring back to a higher vibration. And the end and all dedication for every choice and the voice to the song we say. So we say. So we say. Give thanks, oh, oh, good to see. Give thanks, oh, oh, if you're grateful. Thanks, oh, oh, if you're thankful. Thanks, oh, oh, if you're grateful. Thanks, oh, So I see we have a few dancers. I was going to bring it down for the last one, but now I don't know. So you guys want to bring it down for the last one or bring it up for the last one? Up. All right, you got it. I lost her this big triangle when I took her. Hey, man, I got a part for you to sing. La, 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 la. You sing that? Sounds pretty good. A little bit louder now. All right, just the voices. Just checking. Sounds pretty good, yeah. Sometimes better when they're gone. Our minds are creating this life holographically, so please be kind. As you meet yourself on the road, hey, it's alright, it's alright. You could never mess up your life. It's alright, yeah. For it all returns to life. Say, it's alright, it's alright. You could never mess up your life. It's alright, yeah. For it all returns to life. Oh, yeah. Singing, I'm gonna play some beats. Sing it one more time. Creating this life holographically, so please be kind. If you meet yourself on the road, hey, it's alright, it's alright. You will never mess up your life. It's alright, for it all returns to life. It's alright, you can never mess up your life. It's alright, for it all returns to life. Ooh.
Hot out there, man. If I get started, there ain't no coming back, dude. I start sweating and getting in it.
Ooh, yeah. It all returns to life. It all returns to life, yeah. It all returns to life. It all returns to life. You sing it now. It all returns to life. It all returns to life. Sing it. It all returns to life. I know you got more than that, Maui family. Come on now. Hey, say, it all returns to life. Oh, returns to life. Now somebody clap their hands. now. You know what I'm gonna take to the light. See everything under the sun. You know what all, gonna take to the light. How you feeling, y'all? Maui family, thank you so much. My name is Elijah Ray. I love you so much. Thank you. Thanks for having me.